Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, and we're back. Sorry about that. We only get 40 minutes to record on Zoom, and we took longer than that. Joe, you were talking about Kiss Me More. Tell us more about Kiss Me More.
Yeah, I was just getting into it was kind of a sucky week for Kiss Me More. Javonte Williams goes down for the year. That's your young stud running back. You put up a lot of even despite this, you put up a lot of points. You still lose to an absolute nuclear quad T squad. Um, just kind of a rough week.
Yeah, it's been a rough year so far for Kiss Me More, and definitely see them. Me, the Hennings, Kiss Me More. We're gonna be duking it out for that tank for Bijan Robinson, and we'll see who ends up with the pick at the end of the day. Uh, that was your number 11, correct?
Correct.
So my number 11, I've got handcuffs and happy endings. Trying to tank for Bijan, but still not getting the top pick yet. So it's a rough reality so far, but we'll take it one day at a time. We'll try and trade as much productivity off this team, so we can end up with Bijan Robinson at the end of the day. What you got for your last place team?
We got Fields of Dream. Given Ryan's notorious ability to start slow and make deep runs, regardless, who knows where this team will finish up. But you know, on the one Henning hand, you had Matt, who seems to have a lot of positive regression baked in. I feel like there's even negative regression baked into this squad. We've got, um, Ertz's target share probably coming down as Hopkins comes back. We've got Antonio Gibson. His teammate who got shot, who's going to beat him out for the job, is coming back. We got Khalil Herbert in the starting lineup this past week, and he's a backup. So yeah, we got guys that are out there in the starting lineup that are seeing their workloads that are going to see their workloads decrease. And it's kind of the way I see it. But
Yeah, could not agree with you more that this team is by far the worst team. I just wrote down dog shit QBs and even worse running backs. Not sure what to do here. Um, Cam Akers, horrible draft pick in hindsight. None of us knew that Cam Akers was going to be coming back to a backup role. Cole Kmet through 4 games, he's got 8 targets, 5 receptions, and 9.6 fantasy points. That's not what you want from your number one tight end. Um, just a lot of guys that I've cut that I'm seeing on this roster. And if you're picking up the scraps from a team that's in, second to last place, that's not a good spot to be in. I don't know how this gets turned around. I don't know where this gets turned around, but it's not like there's a ton of youth talent as well on this team. Justin Jefferson, obviously, is young and talented, but after that, you're getting old and not productive anymore. Uh, Not a lot to like on Fields of Dreams. So, as well as our top 12 rankings, we also picked out 5 teams that really look bright for the future. You want to run us through your future picks?
yeah, I've kind of got these in no particular order. They're kind of in a particular order. You could interpret it how you will. Um, but one team I thought you're gonna have to mention right off the bat is the handcuff squad, handcuffs and happy endings. This team has the best combination of picks, running back rookies, breakout receivers. Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson. You got Amon Ra. You got Michael Pittman. You got all these guys that are exploding now, or have the longest possible runway of anyone out there. So this team's got quite a future. And if somehow these guys don't pan out, he's got 2 extra firsts next year, or whenever they pay out. Yeah, got a future ahead of you.
Yeah, I have myself as second in my rankings for future because there's only one team that I would actively love to switch with, and that's Quad T. Two of the top four young receivers, and then a top two young QB, if not, number one, Joe Burrow. He's got that deadly stack for the next 10 years, for or as long as this dynasty league's a thing, with Chase and Burrow. Really good core of youth, and also Saquon's still 25, so he's still got like 3 more years of fantasy relevance and value. Really good team, good for competing now, good for competing in the future. Love Quad T. What's your second team?
Another team I'd like to bring up again, it's kind of in no particular order, but I think this team has the most positional, the most kind of the longest runway across multiple positions. Kiss Me More has Javonte Williams, Kyle Pitts, who I know we all know Kyle, like all of us know about Kyle Pitts, but I still think that you got to still place some value in him. He's got Christian Kirk, he's got Eli Moore, he's got Josh Allen, he's got Dameon Pierce. He's covered at every position for a little while. So across multiple positions, that's the team that stood out to me for the future.
Yeah, so my number two team, I've got handcuffs and happy endings. Pittman, Garrett Wilson, Amon Ra, three really good receivers there. Brees and Kenneth, one really good running back and one running back who's providing zero value this year, but I think in the future Kenneth is going to be a top 15 running back to put as a wide or running back two spot, and then four firsts in the next 2 years, and then Deshaun Watson, Calvin Ridley, two guys who were top tier talents at the position, but not giving me any value in like this year. Not someone that is wasting my potential to get Bijan Robinson next year. Obviously, last 6 games of the season, I'll have to start Deshaun Watson, and hopefully, he doesn't screw me over too much by being too good at football. But I think that this team, other than Quad T, has set up a mess for the future. Number three, obviously, no particular order, but what's your third team?
Yeah, I've got Quad T as a team to mention. I think they've probably got the most production that's like here and here to stay for a while. Kind of like you said, they've got the stack that's already well established. It's going to be 10 years if we're all alive and or this league is alive at that point. Um, and Jalen Waddle and Saquon. So Quad T, I like this. I like that team.
It's a really good team. So we've got the same top three in different orders. I got Kiss Me More as well. You got Josh Allen for the next 10 years, and then you got Javonte, Pierce, and Pitts. I think Pierce, there's been a couple of guys, not Pierce, Pitts. There's been a couple of guys this year who have had unique situations in which they're actually trade forable. One of those being CeeDee Lamb. I definitely sent offers over to Everett, and he shut them down as soon as Dak had his injury. That's a guy you're never going to really be able to trade for, and there's these small windows. Same thing with Pitts this year. Obviously, Pitts has been started off so poorly this year, but that's just because he's got the worst quarterback play in the league. Um, this is one of the few times over the course of this entire league that Pitts is going to be available for trade. You're still going to have to give a lot, and he's giving you zero production this year. But that's still a great player and piece to have on your team. Javante obviously going down with an injury hurts. But I mean, Dameon Pierce, getting him late in the start of draft. He's got plenty of young guys on this team to set him up for the future. What was the fourth team that you wanted to call out?
I call out Slob on my dub. Um, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Traylon Burks, Trey Lance, J.K. Dobbins. Um, these are a lot of kind of like, you know, Drake London and Traylon Burks kind of highlight how this team really targeted the high end rookies this year and definitely wanted to establish some primo young dude talent. Um, Dobbins coming back and looking really good. I think that's probably a more valuable piece than I would have thought coming into the year. And like you said, CeeDee Lamb seems to just keep producing regardless of quarterback play. So that's another team that's set up from the wide receiver position, a little bit from the running back position. Yep.
Yeah, I've got them as my number 5, so I'll talk about them now just because you did. Lance, Lizard, London, Lawrence, 4 R's of youth and talent. Did you say R's? The L's of youth and talent. Good young pieces to build around. You've also brought up Traylon Burks, uh, regressing in terms of value a little bit, but I mean he's still a first round pick in a little bit of a run heavy offense. He's gonna get it together and pick up that value. And then CD, I tried to get CD. I thought Ev might panic a little bit with his lack of usage for the first couple weeks. He held strong, and now CD is no longer really able to be got, especially with Dak coming back. It looks like this week. Just tons of young studs on Solomon Madab. Really like their look towards the future. They're my number 5. Who's your 5th team?
I got my team on here. I feel pretty good about my young receiving core. I kind of thought that I was able to get the most young dude value out of the draft. Um, I even thought about changing. I thought about changing my team name to Quad D because I've got Devontae, Dotson, Davis, and Dubs. But then I realized that I've also got DeAndre. So
Quint D.
so I'm too far. I've got too much D on this team. Um,
D.
so I gave
Yeah,
myself a shout out. I feel like I got some guys that can produce for a little bit.
yeah. I thought about putting you on the list, but my number 4 team, I had to put TaylorMade. Uh, I mean, JT's still relatively young, but then he's also got AJ Dillon, who is a strong candidate to take over the Packers backfield next year. Really just jump in value, and then 3 guys who are late first round rookie picks last year or early second round picks in Nico Collins. Well, Nico Collins would be 2 years ago. George Pickens and Wandale Robinson. Really good young talent that can blossom here. It just depends on whether or not they hit those next steps. And then you got Tua, who's looked like a different beast this year while he's not concussed. And then Chris Olave, you can't forget about him. He's looked incredible. He's, I think, leading the league in air yards right now. If only he had a quarterback who could get it to him. Really like the young talent on this team. Definitely poised to take a step in the future. But I would be remiss to say that your team isn't competing for one of these top 5 future spots.
I had my notes on TaylorMade were they had the best blend of young running backs and young wide receivers. JT Pickens, Olave, Dillon. That's a that's a good core to get you set up for a little bit at wide receiver, right? The most valuable positions. So
So,
those
without further ado, you want to welcome in a guy who we both had in our top 5 for future, and the guy who's really had the biggest roller coaster of a year so far this year. Ev, how's it going, bud?
Good. It is first and foremost so nice to finally meet you guys, see you guys on the podcast. I was hoping that I could get on this thing last year, but pretty unlucky not to. But I'm quite happy, quite proud to be here now.
Yeah. So week 1, Dak goes down. How are
Hmm.
you feeling in that moment?
Not happy, that's for sure. I mean, Dak obviously a pretty monumental part and piece of that offense. But as someone who was at the game in Minnesota when Cooper Rush took over, I could see the excellence firsthand that who Cooper Rush is. So I wasn't panicking at all in the slightest.
Yeah, and that came up in I asked you what do you want for CD because I was really ready to pay whatever. I was ready to give you, some firsts, young talent. Um, any worry about the fact that 4.99 points in week 1 when Dak was playing, and then under Cooper Rush, he's had 20 back-to-back weeks. Uh, with that step down at quarterback, with Dak coming back, and
Hmm.
Cooper Rush going back to holding the clipboard, are you worried at all that CD's gonna regress a little bit with the worst quarterback play under Dak, Dakota Rain Prescott? There's a Rain Dakota Prescott. I think it's Rain Dakota. But
That's a good question. You also got to factor in that Michael Gallup's back, scored a touchdown this week. He's looking pretty good. Dalton Schultz, I think, came back this past week. So,
yeah, he
I
got
mean,
0 points.
that he did, but I mean, he's back. So, with
He was
the
on the field.
he's a factor, dude. He's intimidating. But I mean, you factor in every piece of the offense is pretty much healthy at this point. I would really only think that would quite honestly benefit him more because I mean, if he's the only member on the field or the only player on the field that you got to focus on or worry about, I mean, all the tension's on him. But now you got all the factors, you got all the different pieces that can also make a contribution. I think it's only a good thing.
Drake London, talk us through the pick. What you thought he was going to bring to your team this year. Going into the draft, was he a guy you were targeting, or did he just follow you and you're like, hey, it was the first wide receiver taken, might as well take him?
Honestly, a little bit of both. I mean, the first wide receiver drafted this year. You got to go into any first year fantasy dynasty draft thinking that if you can get the number one drafted wide receiver on your team, then that's obviously huge. I honestly think I got a little bit lucky. I didn't think you'd get to me, and I think he was my fourth, and I think maybe my fifth pick. So the fact that he fell that far, I think, was pretty nice and shocking. I mean, there was obviously big questions with that Falcons offense and just team in general. Falcons aren't good, but you got Marcus Mariota. I mean,
Seven completions last week.
yeah, that was excruciating. That was as someone who put up the Browns Falcons game on their phone and watched a majority of that game. It was pretty tough to watch. Marcus Mariota is just that QB who's just always gonna always find a way to lose the game. But maybe I mean the fact that Drake London still has been a big key factor in that offense, holding a huge target share, I think is nothing but promising going forward.
Are you expecting to see 30-point weeks from Rashad Penny every single week from here on out?
Oh, absolutely. The thing is with Rashad Penny, I knew he was capable of this. The only factor that you got to keep in mind is that the Seahawks in general, Geno Smith, not a great team. So as long as they're in a game or winning and they can actually run the ball, Rashad Penny is going to be the guy. He is an elite back. I mean, everyone's been, hyping this guy up for years with Chris Carson in the backfield for a while. He's finally gone. He's the main guy. Honestly, Rashad Penny breaking 2 30-plus yard touchdowns this past week. I mean, the guy's explosive.
He's also on a 1-year contract that's
He's
not
proven
going
it.
to be re-signed.
You don't know that. You don't know it. He could go to
Kenneth
it.
Walker, baby. Big
How do you do this past
Kenny.
week?
What do you think about Treylon Burks and the asthma? Is it a problem?
As a fellow asthma haver,
Asthmatic?
yeah, if you will. I mean, come on, don't. I have nothing to worry about. If anything, the 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 quicker that Ryan Tannehill can be chased out of town by a mob and just angry fans, the better. I mean, the dude is just absolute dog shite. I mean, I had him on my team last year. I had, I'm glad I don't have him this year. He's just an absolute bum. You got to
Yeah,
get
that's why
yeah.
I refuse to do super flex leagues because for some reason Ryan Tannehill has value in a super flex league, and I refuse to be in a league that Ryan Tannehill has value.
That is a fair point. That is a very fair point. But I'm not worried about him. I mean, 4 games in this season, he's looked pretty good. Just the quarterback plays trash. The offensive line is banged up. What are you gonna do? I still have a lot of hope out for him.
So you got a question for the guest?
You got Snoop Connor coming up against Houston this week. You firing him up against the league's worst rush defense?
What a very valid question. With another injury on my team, I have not gone one single week without an injury. I got Cordero Patterson going on the IR now for a couple weeks. maybe there's hope in a spot for Snoop this week. You never know.
What's
For
it gonna take for me to get Jalen Rieger off your team? I'll give you a 2025 fifth round pick.
Oof, you bump that up to a second rounder and you got it. I think that's only fair.
All right, I'm gonna trade for Justin Jefferson first, and then I'll flip him for Jalen Rieger.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
They call
At
it
least
the Hennings.
that's what the ESPN trade advisor tells me, at least.
Yeah. So you kind of find yourself in that, middle ground where you got plenty of young talent. You've got you've got enough injuries this year that a less strong person would, a less strong-willed person would just pack it in and start thinking about next year. Are you looking to continue to compete for this year, or are you looking at waiting a couple weeks until someone's trying to get a nuke off you, to bolster their arms race?
That's a super good question. I mean, as you guys have both brought up during this podcast, I mean, I'm in the top half of the league in standings just in general right now, but then also in future prospects. So like I could have it both ways. Maybe I know you typically in a dynasty format, if you really want to compete, you want to bolster and trade for those vets, get those players for now. It's hard to do with a developing team to win. You need a for now team. Like you said, with all the injuries I've been getting, you would think that I'd be ready to pack it up, give up, try to sell for the future. But the thing is that the team just don't quit. Just a bunch of dogs. If you took an X-ray of my team, you got at least 4, 5 just absolute angry dogs just going hard every week. So
all right, I'm gonna propose a trade. You want another dog? Another dog?
Of course,
Zach Wilson for Trey Lance, straight up.
I mean, does he get to fuck
certified
my mom too?
Dog? What?
Does he get to fuck my mom too?
It is a family show, dude. We don't have the bleep sensor ready.
But yes, I'm taking that trade every day.
What was that?
I'm taking that trade every day.
All right. I'll send you Zach Wilson for Trey Lance. I want Jalen Rieger with it. I want Jalen Rieger, and
that's a deal breaker.
Joe, you got any other questions for Ev?
I was just gonna say, like, if you look at Ev's team, you look at the top 4 guys. You got Tom Brady with his offense finally all at full strength. You got CeeDee Lamb, you got Drake London, you got Dalvin Cook. That's 4 dudes that can win you some games. So, you can still play it out, I think, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, depending how these next couple of weeks go, I mean, super disappointing L this week after dropping 151 points. I mean, just what happens when you play the top team in the league, I guess. Going to be 2-2. It could not be at more of a crossroads right now. So as the weeks progress, I'll figure out how I want to go on with my team. Obviously, winning is definitely the more attractive way to go, but we'll just have to wait and see.
The good news is, even with Cordero Patterson hitting the IR, he's projected by Yahoo to get you 0.32 points next week. I don't know how he's going to get that done, but it's looking good.
That's just
you got Brad next week, though.
Broken Cordero Patterson has been the last 2 years.
Oh, insane! I have him on literally every single one of my fantasy teams, so quite a big blow.
Man, you got Kiss Me More next week. Is it a roommate battle? You guys been talking it up last couple of days? You've been chatting shit, if you will.
I mean, me and Brad have talked about it. I mean, as you guys have said in your rankings, he's pretty low. As Brad will acknowledge, his team is pretty dog water. Like, my team's got a bunch of dogs. He's the water. I'm gonna lap him up this week.
Wow. Guarantee?
Yeah. I'll put a lock on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hammer the Ev to cover.
Yeah.
Just said, Vegas odds.
Hit that over every time, I might even drop 2 hundo.
I think Vegas has your odds as -7. You think you're gonna cover, or you got money line?
Money line's always the safe pick, but I mean, like I've said, a bunch of dogs on this team. They smell blood in the water. They're going for it.
Yeah, no, I like it. Big fan. Can't wait for you to sell off this team in a couple weeks when you have like 6 more injuries. And I'm happy to buy. I'll take Trey Lance off your hands. I'll take Drake London if you
Mm,
want to give him up. I'll keep throwing trade proposals your way for you to shut down.
gotcha. So yeah, as my team continues to collapse, I'll trade away all of my future pieces. That sounds like a good plan. Yeah.
Well, Joe, if you got nothing else, I've got nothing else. Thanks for joining us today, Everett. It's truly an honor to
The
talk to
honor
the
was
person
all
who
mine.
shut down more trades from me than anyone else in our league. Um,
Look forward to
it's been
shutting
great.
down some more.
Ev, I heard you heard like a really great Trey Lance joke the other day. You wanna tell it to the audience?
You know, I don't know what you're talking. I can't recall. It's I honestly don't know what you're talking about.
Hey Joe, what does Trey Lance and gray pants have in common?
I don't know, Tyler.
They both have a hole where the ankle's supposed to go. Do you get it? Because
Uh,
his ankle's broken.
His ankle's totally busted. It's like cornflakes.
Hey, do you like the joke the second time? Is it better? Is it better as a audio thing or when it was read?
hmm. It definitely hit different when you said it directly to my face after you said you won. So
All right. Well, that can wrap up. We can end on the high note that is that Trey Lance joke.
mm-hmm.
I woke up out of a stupor on Sunday morning, uh, and thought of that joke. So I thought I'd text Ev that, and he said it was the greatest
Greatly
joke he ever heard. So
greatly
that was
appreciated.
it.
Yep.
Well, that's gonna wrap up this week of the fantasy football recap of the Henning Bowl and friends. Joe, you got anything to leave our audience with?
Nope. Just good luck. Send trades. Let's get a market
If anyone
going.
wants anyone on my team for a first round pick, let me know.
Mm.
Thank you for Bijan. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.